more votes
the U.S.
than he
attorney
actually won.
went to a judge that was not appointed by Donald Trump and gave evidence and got a warrant from a judge. That really happened. You can pretend that didn't happen, but that didn't happen.
Do you think this has anything to do at all with Trump's false claims that he won that
That's where it starts.
Hold on, let him answer.
How do you know definitively
I'm
there is
asking
no merit?
you a question.
You're saying this from
Joe,
you're
let me ask you a question.
You're saying this from a high horse.
I'm just asking
how
you
do you know there's no evidence without
investigation?
This is how I know, Joe, because this has been litigated and relitigated. There were 60 different cases in 2020. Trump lost all of them. And now you're coming back 6 years later, and you want to say, let's look at the 2020 election? I think this is ridiculous.
In this video, you're going to see a fierce clash over Trump's latest move in trying to prove he won the state of Georgia in the 2020 election. We are looking at a sitting president allegedly weaponizing the FBI to settle a 6-year-old personal grievance. And of course, there are always MAGA sycophants ready to kiss the ring and defend his stupid actions, which is exactly what you'll see here. Let's watch this together and I'll give my 2 cents at the end.
This Georgia raid is deeply concerning because there's only one reason why Trump would be trying to get into Fulton County's elections offices, and that's to try to find the votes that he was looking for when he was trying to steal the 2020 election. So what now? He's president. It seems like he's able to do the things that he wants to do when it comes to Georgia.
In 2020, Trump notoriously was caught on tape saying, I just need to find 11,780 votes in Georgia. And he lost Georgia, he lost Fulton County, he's been targeting it ever since, and now he's sending in Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, who has absolutely nothing to do with domestic law enforcement, sending her into Fulton County, Georgia on an FBI raid, with the mistaken belief that somehow he's going to find evidence that he lost that he actually won the 2020 election. That's preposterous. And in my opinion, this is worse than Watergate. In Watergate, we had the President of the United States who ordered his thugs to go into the Democratic National Committee headquarters and break into it and then covered it up. Here we have the President of the United States ordering his FBI to go into the Fulton County Elections Office and seize their ballots and data, and take it back to his people to investigate something.
He's leaving out an important step. All right, we have a U.S. attorney from St. Louis who was appointed to oversee election integrity cases around the country, right? Appointed legally, no problem. He got a judge to sign off on a warrant for Fulton County to seize 700 boxes. That is our legal process paying out. This is not a Donald Trump fiat. You could say it is, and you could be upset about it, but there was a court-appointed, court warrant issued for this case. And the response to it by Fulton County has been to sue the administration to prevent the handing over of these boxes. To go back to Chris's point, if there's nothing to hide, why do it? In a YouGov poll that came out last year, 30% of Americans, only 30% of Americans, believe that there is little to no fraud in our elections, right? Whether it's true or not, my point is that Americans do believe that there is.
It's not true.
The point is it's a poll. It's a poll of how Americans feel. And when you have counties like Fulton County saying no federal government, under legal authority, you still can't see these 700 ballots. Then I'm sorry, it just seeds discontent and distrust.
Let me just ask you straight up. Do you think that Trump is right that he in fact won Fulton County and won the state of Georgia?
I don't think so, but what's the harm in seeing? What's the harm in seeing?
So you think
what is the harm in seeing?
Well, Trump has made up out of whole cloth an accusation.
Why is this judicial warrant wrong in your opinion?
Joe,
why is the judicial?
I just asked you a simple question. Do you think he won the state?
I said I don't think so.
Okay, so then what is he looking for? I mean, other than what he's already told us that he wants, which is more votes
than he actually won. The U.S. attorney went to a judge that was not appointed by Donald Trump and gave evidence and got a warrant from a judge. That really happened. You can pretend that didn't happen, but that didn't happen.
Do you think this has anything to do at all with Trump's false claims that he won that state?
That's where it starts.
Hold on, let him answer.
How do you know definitively
I'm asking you a question.
You're saying this from
Joe,
you're
let me ask you a question.
You're saying this from a high horse.
I'm just asking
how do you know there's no evidence without investigation?
This is how I know, Joe, because this has been litigated and relitigated. There were 60 different cases in 2020. Trump lost all of them. And now you're coming back 6 years later, and you want to say, let's look at the 2020 election. election? I think this is ridiculous. And if Trump wants to, and let me just say this:
is the judge corrupt?
But I read that 5-page warrant today, and that warrant relies on an FBI agent who testified that there was evidence of the criminal activity that took place in those files. There's no evidence to prove that. That FBI agent is a liar. Just like Donald Trump is.
Wait, hold on. This is a point. His opinion was that the FBI, who under penalty of perjury, said he saw evidence or she saw evidence. His opinion is that it doesn't matter.
I know my opinion is that it's already been litigated 6 years ago.
The judge's opinion was that there's merit to it, and that's why they issued a warrant, which now Fulton County is now
fighting. But there's no question
Right.
this is led by Donald Trump.
Correct. Well, that's
this
where it
is to
starts.
solve his grievances. So now we spend our taxpayer dollars to do this all over again from Relitigate 2020, which was litigated.
But I don't think that
Wait,
that's-
can I just finish this
Sorry.
one point? We're going to relitigate what was already looked at by 60 different federal courts, more than 60. They did not find evidence of this fraud. Now, Donald Trump has decided years later that it exists.
And many
does he
of those were Republicans.
But
Yes,
Joe's
here's the thing.
point. But Joe's point. One
Wait,
second.
I didn't get to finish my point. Sorry, 1 second. The warrant issue, you're right on. They can go.
I think I like what he has.
I just told you were right on one point, only one. They are allowed to go in if they have probable cause. They submit it to a federal magistrate, and the magistrate agrees that they have cause. I'm not saying proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but cause. You're right. They can get a warrant, and that is appropriate. But what are we really looking at here? What are we spending our taxpayer dollars? And then why did Trump, as Abby said in the top of the show, Trump got on a phone call with the investigators, the FBI. Wait,
I'm saying my opinion
beyond improper.
One second. So, in Minnesota, there was an indictment from a Nevada couple that was harvesting ballots in Minnesota. To say that voter fraud does not exist is wrong.
Said
it's
that.
absolutely wrong. Hold on. To this point, there was a judicial finding of probable cause in order to make this search. That's what makes it entirely different than Watergate. That was the president breaking into Watergate. Let me finish. That was the president breaking into Watergate without any judicial determination. Joe's 100% right. There was a neutral magistrate finding that. If you don't have a problem with, if you do not think that voter fraud doesn't exist, then why not just make this available? Why not take a look at it? Prove everybody wrong. Have it be done.
6 years later, are you going down this rabbit hole with
I don't have proof of the negative. I can't prove to you the negative until there's some evidence to
then why are you wasting our time and taxpayer dollars on
you're
this
partisan.
cause?
You have an opinion. I have an opinion. The important thing is the judge had the opinion.
But why did it even get to the judge? Why is it even there? Because President Trump has
an
said...
FBI agent had said they saw evidence
because it starts with the president.
It does start with the president. It was directed by the president.
It was directed by the president and speakerphone by the president.
You're positive this FBI
So
agent
let me just.
I never said he was lying. I'm saying that should have gotten to the judge.
We do have to go, but I just want to play one thing. This is what Trump said about what might come out of this raid, and then compare that to what the DOJ is saying about Trump's involvement in the raid. Listen.
Now you're going to see something in Georgia where they were able to get, with a court order, the ballots. You're going to see some interesting things come out.
What interesting things is he talking about, and why was he so involved in an FBI and DOJ raid?
Well, just because he said that doesn't mean that he's involved. I don't believe he was involved.
He said interesting things are happening, so it sounds like he was briefed on it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not around when the president's briefed or not briefed. What I said is that this is a criminal investigation, so it's a tightly held, as it must be under the law.
The other part. Let me just make one quick point. So he said that, despite what Trump has said, and also Tulsi Gabbard seemed to double down on this. She said that she was down there at the site of the raid because her presence was requested by the president.
Right.
So you can't take Trump out of this because he's put himself right in the middle.
Right, and it's interesting, when she was first seen there were other administration officials who just said she happened to be in town. But we know now that that wasn't true, that she was instructed by the president to be there. So it starts with him because he is trying desperately to prove something that has been disproved dozens of times, in many cases disproved by Republican appointed
and when
judges.
Fulton County complies and turns over the evidence, if nothing arises from it, I will come back here, as I'm sure I will, and say, you know what, there was nothing there.
Why are we even doing it? Why are we wasting
listen,
taxpayer dollars? And also,
the judge saw probable cause based on
60 court cases later, Donald Trump is still not satisfied with the conclusion
it sounds
that
like
he
we should
lost
fire
the
this
last
judge.
election.
It sounds like this judge isn't doing his job.
The judge is doing the job.
The judge found probable cause.
Right,
What you just witnessed is a masterclass in the authoritarian's defense. Let's deconstruct the absolute nonsense Joe Borelli was trying to sell. Borelli leaned heavily on the "if you have nothing to hide, why not let them look" argument. This is a classic logical fallacy used to justify overreach. We have had 60 court cases, multiple hand recounts, and forensic audits in Georgia that all concluded the same thing: Joe Biden won. By Borelli's logic, the government should be allowed to raid your home every Tuesday just to check if you're a criminal, and if you object, you must be guilty. It's a total subversion of the Fourth Amendment and a waste of your taxpayer dollars. Then we have Chris Madel. You can see the internal struggle in real time. He's a Republican, he wants to support the team, but he's sitting there having to admit that Trump is lying about Minnesota. He calls the state a national embarrassment to play to the base, but then has to concede that Trump never won there. He's caught in the middle of a MAGA movement that demands he lie and a reality that he clearly sees. But the most chilling part of this is the involvement of Tulsi Gabbard. Why is the Director of National Intelligence, someone focused on foreign threats, overseeing a domestic search warrant for paper ballots from 2020? And why was Trump on speakerphone during the raid? This isn't law enforcement, it's a political hit squad. It is exactly what Republicans claimed the deep state was doing to them. Yet here they are, nationalizing elections and using the FBI as a personal retrieval service for Trump's ego. This is a desperate attempt to relitigate a settled past because they have no vision for the future. But I want to hear from you. Does the involvement of the DNI in a local election office raid concern you, or do you think this is a legitimate integrity check? Let me know in the comments below, and please hit the like and subscribe button, and also don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.